What's up everyone, my name's Ryan, and I'm talking about Persona 5 Royal again for the second video in a row. Earlier today, it was put out that Game Informer had an interview with the Persona series character designer, and apologies if I mispronounce this here, Shigenori Soejima, talking about things like Kasumi, her design, Jose, and one major detail, a possible leaked month release date for Persona 5 Royal in English. Today, I'd like to go over the interview given out by Game Informer, and give my thoughts on the statements given out by Soejima. Before we get started, I'd like to point out that the information from this interview I found was through Reggie on PersonaCentral, a website and Twitter account I highly recommend you check out. Let's get rolling, soldiers. The style we'll be doing in this video will be in the style of reading the question first, and then going by the answer Soejima gives. The first being, for Persona 5 Royal, how is it coming back and designing characters after being away from it for a little while? How did you ensure the characters were different enough but still fit in the game? Soejima responded with, it was definitely a challenge. It's always a challenge to bring in new elements to something that's already loved by the fans. With Persona 5 Royal, there's a new character, talking about Kasumi, that's custom made. We are aware that, bringing a new character into an existing storyline, they're not at the same starting line as other characters in terms of familiarity to the fans and how they'll be received, so we're all kinds of nervous about how new characters are seen. With Kasumi in particular, we wanted someone outside of the Phantom Thieves viewing the situation from a whole different perspective. We also wanted to bring her close to one of the main characters, kind of in the protagonist way, where fans will be able to see the story from a brand new perspective and have a new character to go along with it. That line about nervousness about the response to Kasumi in general shows to me something. They're fully aware about the backlash of characters like Marie back in Persona 4 Golden, and they're fully aware that they need to do this better. I've always been a bit iffy on Kasumi personally, but I really hope the best for the character as a whole in Persona 5 Royal. My only worry is how much Kasumi will change the ending of Persona 5 Royal, possibly in a negative way. Though I have a whole video planned on that, so I'll be talking more in depth about that later. I do love their idea of though bringing in a new character, not just for the sake of having a new character, but for the sake of showing another perspective to the idea of having a persona and trying to cope with that. The stress of it, the pain, and the sacrifice you may have to give in order to use it. I like how Kasumi doesn't seem to be a Phantom Thief so far, so we can see how someone else would react to that. The next one, the interviewer simply asked, how did you come up with Kasumi's design? With Kasumi, I really wanted to create just a straightforward heroine type character. This might be a little bit different in the West, but in Japan, the manga I grew up reading, the main female characters always had a ponytail, and their club activity was gymnastics. I really just wanted to shoot for that female protagonist archetype. Maybe in the States or in the West, it'd be comparable to a cheerleader type character. With most of the characters in Persona 5, we really designed them to have a kind of twist to them, kind of make them unique and different from what the standard character archetypes might be like. But with Kasumi, we wanted to just go for the straight up that heroine type of character. This one might trigger some people a bit, but I've always had mixed feelings about Kasumi's design personally. I feel like Kasumi's regular design is just sort of fine in my opinion, but I never feel like her design moves anything beyond that. Even outside of her Shujin uniform, it just is all kind of okay all around for me. Her Metaverse design though, I really wish got a redesign. For me personally, it's always just looked too much like Ren's Metaverse design. Every Phantom Thief has something unique about their designs, but what's unique about Kasumi's? It's her thighs, isn't it? It's definitely her thighs. The next question is a short one, but I thought I should mention it nonetheless. The interviewer asks, we recently saw Jose for the first time, and his design is very different from anything else we've seen before. How did you come up with that design? Soejima responded with, I think you'll understand the reasoning behind the design once you play. Jose doesn't really look human. Well, of course he doesn't look human. He looks like an egg. A short, balloon-holding egg. Either way, them confirming that Jose will have more of an explanation in the story does get me intrigued. It's pretty obvious to me that he has some relation to the Velvet Room, but either way, it is still fun to get confirmation that there's more to him than we think. The next one's a long one, so here we go. What's your favorite project or character that you've worked on before? Soejima responds with a heaping amount of answers towards this one. As far as games that I've worked on, each game has a special place in my heart because there was a lot of work that went into each one. There are different challenges. But for characters, for Persona 3, Aegis is one of my favorites. For Persona 4, it's Chi, and then for Persona 5, it's the protagonist. I think the reason why I love these characters so much is because I put things that I really loved into the design that resonated with the fans, so they liked it too. That kind of resonance is what really leads me to decide on a favorite character. A lot of times I put things I like into a character, but it doesn't quite translate to fans, or something resonates with fans that I didn't expect at all. When it matches up where I liked, and they liked it, those characters tend to be my favorites. I do love the fact that he gives a bit of an insight in the designs of the characters for Persona as a whole, and as we can tell from the early designs of characters like Ren, he definitely takes a lot of time to change designs a ton to fit what people like, and it always works out for the better to be honest. Of course though, one of his favorites being Aegis from Persona 3, a huge favorite design of mine as well, same with Chi from Persona 4. Though I still think Naoto is the best. Don't at me. So yeah, it's small, but I really love what he says here about the designs, and making sure it can cater to both to what he likes and what we like. The next one is, You've been working on the Persona series for a while now. What has kept you interested in the series, and where would you like to see it go next? As to why I've been continuing to work on the Persona series, there's just always new things I want to try. There are always things I want to do better with each game, but there's also some new challenges or aspects that I want to try out. I think that's the driving force that keeps me working on the Persona series. As for the future of the series, I know now that it's become more well known in the West and there are a lot more fans and eyes looking at the series. Of course, fans have loved the series up to this point, but I'm sure with more eyes on it, there's going to be different things that fans are looking for in the game. I hope that we can continue to have that conversation with fans and bring them something that they really enjoy. He's definitely not wrong about the game exploding over here in the West a lot more. With P5 blowing up in popularity, and of course characters like Joker making it into Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, Persona 5 I can safely say is one of the biggest reasons why Persona has exploded in popularity here in the West. I'm happy to see that though, the series has deserved way more praise than it actually gets for a long time now. The next question is about Project Re Fantasy though from what I can tell, this doesn't really involve anything Persona related, so I'll be skipping over that question for now. However, to me, the biggest announcement is from PersonaCentral. If you guys don't know, while Persona 5 Royal is going to be releasing in Japan in less than a month, it's still not coming to the West and Asia until 2020 due to translations and such. This definitely sucks, however, it does seem like we may have gotten a release month. According to PersonaCentral, the Game Informer November 2019 issue included an interview with Soejima, and it lists a Royal release for March 2020 for the English release. Rejoice! If this actually ends up being real. Now, this could easily just be a bit of a mess up on Game Informer's part and could easily be nothing, which is why I'm not making it into a video just yet. But I definitely feel like it needs to be talked about. Thankfully, it's earlier than I was expecting when it came to the actual release, since I was expecting it to be April or May, so I'm stoked if this is real. But this is still shocking to me because of the release window because, well, this is also coming out the same month as a small little indie title called Final Fantasy VII Remake. I don't think I've talked about it here before. Either way, this is a major move from Atlus to try and release this the same month since Remake is pretty much guaranteed to blow up in both sales and popularity. Though honestly, I think P5R is going to be okay. In terms of what you do in a Persona game compared to what they've shown for Remake, both gameplay styles are pretty different from each other that I think they'll both be fine. Though this is also releasing in a very odd window, right near Cyberpunk, Final Fantasy VII Remake, and The Last of Us Part 2. Oh, my wallet's gonna hate me. Either way, what do you guys think? The possible release window, what Soejima was saying in the interview, and more? Comment below, let me know. Thank you guys very much for watching, have a great night, take care. Signing off. Peace out.